Greetings and welcome. Welcome to episode 51 of the Lott Carey Wise Digital Couch. This is the focus on the 20 years of advocacy. We're going to be focusing on jumping for justice and the human trafficking awareness events that we have planned for this month. I'm so excited and thankful to be with you today. If you do not know who I am, my name is Doria Larrier, and I'm the host of the Lott Carey Wise Digital Couch. Welcome to another episode. And on behalf of our executive leadership team for Lott Carey, we have our executive secretary treasurer, Reverend Emmett L. Dunn. We have our president, Reverend Jesse Williams. We have our first vice president, who is Reverend James Victor, and our second vice president, one moment, Reverend Robert Scott. We also have our WISE leadership team, which is led by Dr. Brenda McBurrow, who is our president. Our first vice president is Sister Lynette one moment. Lynette Richardson, and our second vice president, who is Sister Brenda Troy. Let's welcome to our couch tonight the one and only, our former president, Dr. Angelita Clifton. Excuse me, a little tongue-tied today. Welcome.
Thank you. Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. So let's first start with the protocol that we know to call here. We have a lot going on. This is not only the 1st of May, but it is the first Thursday in May. So we're doing a multiplicity of things. We've been up for a long time. We started this day this morning with our prayer call, our monthly prayer call. And we're so excited to have Reverend Sanders on this morning, and she did an amazing job at ministering to us. And I'm also very excited to share that we started recording the prayer calls. Hopefully they'll be put into some little archive where you can sort of peek in. If you did not rise in order to see it this morning, but we're very, 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 very thankful that we are beginning that process. Right. So it's also Thursdays in Black. And so you see Dr. Clifton and myself wearing our Thursdays in Black. We have our pearls. And I have on the t-shirt, focusing on the shirt, right? I had the shirt from last year, right? Increasing awareness, advocacy, and activism. And so, but we have a new shirt going on. So if you didn't get your shirt, make sure you get your shirt. Let's do a bit of housekeeping here. So again, this is May. The reservations for hotel is open. What am I talking about? We are getting ready for our annual session, which will be held in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania in August. So we're extremely, extremely excited that is happening. So if you know what I know, please get your hotel so you are not 5 miles away and having to get to the prayer services at like 6 and 7 a.m., right? We need to do that. That is what we know because we are conventioneers. So there would be no other greater conversation than to be speaking to Dr. Clifton for this May episode of the Lott Carey Wise Digital Couch. Why? Because we are not only celebrating our convention, we're not only celebrating for Lott Carey Wise 125 years of the work that the women have done for this convention, but this is the 20th year of advocacy focusing on human trafficking awareness. And so who else should we be speaking to? So there will be moments where she and I will be sort of chit-chatting, but realistically, I'm going to put her on full blast and she will have the entire stage to herself because there's a lot to unpack. So I'm going to lead with what happened, and then we're going to talk about, of course, like what's happening in the next couple of days. But once we sort of talk about the calendar of events over the next 2 to 3 weeks, I definitely want us to lead in with what happened 20 years ago that it was so led on your heart to say, we may be here in the United States, we may be here in the New York, New Jersey area, we may be here on the eastern seaboard of the United States, but what's happening globally is literally right across the street. And so if you sort of peek into us what happened 20 years ago that led this mission of yours to start
Mhm.
this work. So, calendar of events, and let's get right into the topic.
Okay, so let's start off by saying I'm super excited, and I just feel super blessed to be able to say that we have our 20th anniversary of the anti-trafficking prayer service. So we will have our prayer service on Saturday, May 10th. But before we do that, we jump off the weekend. We jump off the weekend with a concert. So the brothers came to me and they said, we want to be a part of this. And I thought to myself, yes, we have made an impact. Yes, we have. And they said, we want to sing for our sisters. So we have a bunch of brothers who will be singing and doing spoken word and poetry. And they all came and decided that this is something that they wanted to be actively involved in. And for that, I am truly grateful. And then we move in transition into Saturday morning. We'll have our prayer service where Dr. Carolyn Knight will be our guest preacher. She has been with us for the last 15 years, I believe it is. And she always blesses. She never disappoints. And so if you have not heard her, which I can't imagine that you have not, but if you haven't, you most certainly want to log in or be in the building on Saturday morning at 10 a.m. because I assure you that you will be blessed. And so after we have our prayer service, during the prayer service, we're doing a couple of other things, and I want to talk about that. I don't want to get ahead of myself. I want to talk about the fact that this year, the J4J challenge is $100,000. And so I am looking for giving circles. We have until sometime in June to get it together. And so I just believe that for the 20th anniversary of the anti-trafficking prayer service, we can raise $100,000 for mental health. And so I just feel so not overwhelmed, but
What
maybe
did you say? Overjoyed.
overjoyed. I feel so overjoyed with the fact that we have this great opportunity to provide services and stand in the gap and provide services where in the past there's been a huge space. And so I'm grateful for that. So the J4J challenge is of course $100,000. We are also going to be blessed to do a couple of other special things. We do believe that we have the city of Summit coming to be a part of our particular program. I think that they will be honoring Fountain Baptist Church for the work that they have done in Summit and the vicinity, as well as around the globe, around this issue of human trafficking. And so I'm really excited about that. We also are blessed to partner with First Baptist Church of Lincoln Gardens. And what we will be doing is a portion of the J4J component, which is mental health matters. We talking about that specific aspect. We are going to name that in honor of Dr. Sheila Gipson, who was a minister at First Baptist Church. She's a pastor there at First Baptist Church of Lincoln Gardens. And last year, they gave us a $15,000 donation toward the work. And so we have agreed to partner with them, and we are going to be naming the J4J initiative after Dr. Sheila Gipson, because if you knew her, you would know that this is the perfect space for her. She was incredibly compassionate, caring, and concerned. And when she asked you how you were doing, she really wanted to know. And so this is a perfect space for her. So I'm excited about the weekend because we're kind of building on things. We have the concert, then we have the Saturday morning prayer service, and then we'll transition outside for the Jumping for Justice Double Dutch Revival, which is always a blast. It's always a blast. We're able to come out and celebrate those survivors, those people who have survived gender-based violence in some form or fashion. And so we come outside and it's very carnival-like. We have the food truck and the ice cream truck, and we have pony rides for the kids and face painting and line dancing and DJs and, oh my goodness, 360 machines, so many things. And what we try to do is utilize that space as an intergenerational space. I noticed that the prayer service drew a lot of the senior saints, but it did not necessarily bring in a lot of young adults. So adding this particular component was another way for me to kind of expand our reach. And so we've been blessed to be able to utilize the J4J, the Jumping for Justice initiative, to bring in some younger folks We got them all the way from like 3 years old, all the way up to, 40 or so. And so that was the population that we were missing. And now we have them, they come to the table. So they come to the service, we transition outside, and it's really just a blessed day. So I'm really, really, really excited about that. And then my pastor, the Reverend Willie Dwayne Francois III, who is incredibly kind, has agreed that on Sunday we will have emphasis around the issue. So we will have yet another opportunity to bring to the attention of those people who are in church, those people who are streaming online, bring to the table the issue of trafficking, talk to them about our 31 days of prayer guide this year was around rituals versus rights. And so we'll have an opportunity to share a little bit about that. And so I'm really, really excited about the possibilities of just expanding our reach in so many ways. And so we've got a great Mother's Day weekend planned. If you want to honor your mom, there's no better way to do it than to honor a woman or a young girl who has no support whatsoever. Think about that. How much of a blessing that would be to your mom if you brought her out, participated in the event, and then you went out and had dinner. She really would, I think she really would enjoy it. So that's my shameless plug for Mother's Day weekend for you to be a part of it. You can't do everything, but everybody can do something. Everybody can do something.
So I will say that even though you say everybody can do something, because my mom is watching. Yes, Mom, let me, hold on. You put her little comment up. Hey, Mama, I see you. Dr. Clifton sees you, okay? So everybody may try to do something, but there are some people that try to do a lot. This weekend is becoming, it started with just the prayer service. And then, of course, over time I think this is our fourth.
Yes, our fourth Jumping for Justice. Mm-hmm.
Our fourth Jumping for Justice. I almost like lost count because I'm sort of in the middle of how long was it? It's just 4 years. It seems like it's longer because it's so incredible to see this expansion. Right, as you said, it's intergenerational. It brings a light, smiling, heartwarming layer to the tough topic.
Yes,
and it makes it welcoming. For all involved, for those who are trying to support a particular person and their family, the person who has been involved in whatever layer, and those who may be policy or institutional potential supports to say, hey, this is something that should be looked at, right? And so, whereas it started as just the prayer service, and now we've expanded to this this community conglomeration of energy, of like you said, of layers and of fun. To some people, it may say, well, why are we jumping for justice? Because it's actually the activity. And so I'm literally going to make like a little connection, and whether or not you thought about it, I think I'm making the connection. Whereas some people will say that those who have been through traumatic situations, how can you find an outlet that flips the script,
absolutely,
turns the handle, right? I'm gonna give all these little, tidbits. And what a better way to physically uplift yourself, emotionally take yourself to a happy place. And for the most part, African American females within the United States have grown up with jumping double dutch. I am one in the streets of Brooklyn, Flatbush, right here. And so, what better way to sort of take us back to a moment in our childhood that was fun, that was celebratory, that was who has the best skills, not necessarily focusing on something that may have been a moment or a couple of moments where you were not in a great space. It brings you into this I don't like to use this phrase, but I will use it at this moment, like Black female magic of, I have my sisters supporting, and we're doing something that we've done that really enlivens us. And then if you can't necessarily jump, but maybe you can turn. And if you can't turn, not a problem. We got hula hoops for you.
That's right.
We got the line dances. And good and well, we can bring our fans.
Hopscotch, absolutely. Line dancing, hopscotch, we got it all. We got it all.
I want to see some fans. I want to see some fans to see it. We gotta bring the fans.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm gonna make my way to the dollar store and get us some fans, so we'll have some. So we'll be
We gotta get
prepared.
some fans to see it.
Absolutely. What you make note of is something that was the original intent. There's scientific evidence that it is a stress reliever to have some kind of an activity. But one of the things that the real purpose that it serves is it affords us an opportunity to invite women and children from the transitional houses in our areas, the ones that we built relationships with, like Apostle House and Oasis, Transitional House, Eva's Village, Isaiah's house, to invite them and have them bring their children and just have a time of prayer and praise, because many of those women are on the other side of gender-based violence. And so celebrating them while still enlightening them about some of the things that they're going through, some of the traumatic experiences that they've had, it's a win-win. In respect to that. So there are a number of different reasons why the J4J event has really added an extra layer. It also affords churches who are smaller and may not have the resources available to them to do something of this scale. They can be a part of it too, because I solicit sponsors. And so last year we had over 50 different churches who were a part of it. This year we have a tri-state kind of thing happening, New York, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania working together to make this come to fruition. So the J4J component does a multiplicity of things, and it is a beautiful ministry model to utilize when we look at what the kingdom, as I would like to say, the kingdom vision looks like. It's a beautiful example of what that looks like.
I'm just trying to take notes while you're talking. So I definitely want to at some in a moment to just write down the names of the houses that are invited.
Sure.
Oh, okay. So we can do that. Or actually, if you could send me a message, then I'll put it on the screen.
Sure.
So I do want to also share that for those of you who are not familiar with this, and because this is being shared on a multiplicity of networks. So we have it on the Lott Carey YouTube page, which anyone can take that link and then share it to any of your friends, family, or what have you, to share this work. Or if you're a part of a church that may not necessarily participate, again, this is an amazing ministry model that can be replicated wherever you are, right? We are in sort of like the New York, New Jersey, maybe Pennsylvania area that can be gotten to easily. But if you're in the DMV area, if you're in the Carolinas area, the Georgia area, wherever you are, you can actually replicate this. And so because it has been so successful, not just on a fundraising level, which we have gotten to and surpassed, and of course, Dr. Clifton is going to share those great numbers prayerfully momentarily, but just the opportunity to continue to literally expand the territory. And so if someone was like, well, how do we know that we're making the reach? How do we know that we're impacting those who we were focused on, actually targeting, but those who we were focused on? You know that there is movement and growth if you are in that space. And the space I'm speaking about is the space outside, because nobody really is focusing on while we're doing the prayer service. But when you see children and you see community members and you see let's say maybe when they're walking in the door, they kind of, or walking in the space, they're kind of looking around like, wait, what is this? And towards the end, you see everybody just enjoying themselves. And if they didn't know somebody at the beginning, they got about 5 or 6 new friends. They have, of course, there's a strip of, I'm calling it a strip, there's like a strip of tables where there's resources that are available. And Dr. Clifton, if you could share some of the resources that are available for people to continue to participate in, that would be a great segue.
Absolutely. So we like to also have an educational component. So there's lots of food and fellowship and fun and music and all that kind of stuff, with the pony rides and 360 and all that stuff for the kids. But what we also like to have an educational component. And so each year I try to invite different organizations that are working in the area, but are doing it in a different way. Because really what I'm hoping is that people will come and observe that, listen, there's more than one way to tackle this thing. It doesn't have to be a prayer service. It doesn't have to be a Jumping for Justice Double Dutch Revival. It doesn't have to be, workshops. There are so many other ways. And there are a number of different organizations. The YMCA in Elizabeth is one. Apostle House has some educational resources in relationship to it. We've had Dr. Selena Carter has come with her particular focus on women's issues and women's empowerment. We've had Dr. Jeanette Goodson, who's been a part of it as well, with her pastoral care component. We've had New Brunswick Theological come and share the educational piece, the opportunity for education around trauma-informed care. Lott Carey, of course, is there providing resources and opportunities not only to do ministry, but also for short-term mission immersions so that you're able to go over and experience working with the people yourself. And so there are a number of different ways that increasing awareness, advocacy, and activism can occur. It's just a matter of showing people these other opportunities. So the J4J event serves a multiplicity of purposes. One of those things is ideally to get people to think about how we might be able to do this in a much broader way to reach more people.
And I'm typing away.
I understand. I understand. One of the other things that's so great about this opportunity is each year I get to add different things in that bring in different groups. So the young men were still missing, and I was like, gotta figure out a way how to bring the young men in. And so we have Hoops for Hope now. So we have the basketball, St. John's. Dr. Wallace was so nice to sponsor the basketball hoops for us. And so we have the hoops. And now this year we're going to have a half court game where they're going to bring some young men in. And so the bottom line of it all is that this particular ministry model affords us many more avenues of outreach. And so it really is a blessing to be able to navigate this space. And it's a labor of love. It's really a labor of love. It's a lot of work, but it's a labor of love.
Definitely. Okay, so we have Hoops for Hope, right? You said add to the lineup.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful, excellent.
So you know how I love to. So it's Hoops number 4 Hope. Hoops for Hope. Jumping for Justice. Hoops for. Right. But it's all good. It's all good.
I love it. I love it. I love it. We love it. We love it. And we're those people who make the trek. I'm coming from Brooklyn, and it's probably like an hour, a little plus. But the time once I get there, it's only 4 hours. Like it's only from 12 to 4 or so. It's like, wait, can we have more? And very, very thankful to, of course, the ministry staff, the congregational staff of Fountain who comes out.
All the churches that participate, well over 50, 60 churches who participate in some way, shape, or form, whether it be financially, whether it be just coming to participate in the service and the outdoor activities, whatever we need, we have enough resources in our bandwidth to be able to reach out to people and get what we need. And so it is a blessing in every sense of the word.
Excellent, excellent. So let's chat about what some of the growth points have been, some of the goals that have been accomplished. Like, you had $100,000 goal. The first year, what was your goal?
The first year, I thought if we can just make $5,000, we will be doing well. I thought, oh my God, that would be so great if we could just make $5,000. Now it was the first year. So that first year, the goal was 5,000 and we made 20,000, right? We raised $20,000 for survivors of gender-based violence. And I thought to myself, oh my God, if we raised $20,000, we probably could raise, I don't know, a little bit more. So then I think the next time we went in, I think we went in and our goal was maybe 20,000 and we raised 50. And then I thought, if we raise 50, I can just go ahead and say J for J is the 50K challenge. And then we went in for 50 and we raised over $100,000. And so I was just like, wow, God, you're so amazingly kind and so amazingly good. Because when the initial thought came to my mind, and it came from nobody but God, to have this kind of an event, this Jumping for Justice component, I thought to myself, the first thing my pastor is going to say is, who's paying for all of that? And how's that going to work? Because it was right post-pandemic, fresh after the pandemic. Who's coming to it? Who's going to pay for it? How's this going to work? But when you are obedient to do what God has called you to do, even when it looks crazy to everyone else, the evidence, it makes it clear that it was the right thing to do, because now we're able to stand in the gap and provide services around mental health. And all the different challenges that go with that, all the different nuances of that, trauma-informed care and trauma-specific care, and some of the other kinds of spiritual counseling and different conversations about destigmatizing mental health in the Black community. So we have been blessed by the anti-trafficking initiative in terms of increasing awareness, advocacy, and activism. And then the J for J event has afforded us an opportunity to not only broaden our reach in terms of how much information we get out, but the people that we're able to bring in and partner with, and then, of course, the funds that we've been able to generate. So I feel really blessed to be in this space.
So I just wanted to put up numbers that I could type as quickly as possible. So year one, the goal was 5, you made 20. Year 3, then it increased. Year 3, you were like, oh, okay, let's up this. The goal was 100. You made more than 100.
Right. So the first year, 50. The first year we said 5,000, we made 20. Right. Mm-hmm. Then the next year we thought, well, we can say 20, and then we did 50. And then the next year we said, oh, if we did 50, we might as well say 50 for the challenge. And then, of course, we made, over 100. So that is amazingly amazingly
right. And who would have thought? I mean, so now I'm remembering when you're like, oh, $5,000, and the amount of work that you put in just for that first year, one would think, wow. I'm recognizing that people won't know what's important to their community until they are presented with the topic.
Sure.
And so I'm going to sort of pop back to the literature, the book circles that we did, where we were talking about, and then the topics during that first and second year of like trauma-informed ministry and trauma-informed care, and just first identifying what the trauma is, and then how are we responding to it? And then how are we making our churches welcoming spaces for those people who have gone through and are going through those traumatic experiences? How do we make our pews and the people and the pulpit, I did not do that intentionally, but welcoming spaces for those who will be sitting. And when I still talk about to people who it's not on their radar, guess what? When you go and get some of your accessories, your bodily accessories addressed, you are probably participating in the human trafficking process. But not until I say that are people like, wait, what do you mean? And then I say about 2 or 3 more sentences and people are like, wow. But then I also say, guess what? How you can help. First of all, just be aware.
Yes.
Number 2, if there is going to be participation, be aware. And then if you need to do something ethically for your heart and your soul, here's an opportunity to, on the better side of it,
to mitigate some of the factors that are hidden in plain sight. Right, the supply chain is very complex when it comes to items that we purchase, and whether we want to believe it or not, we are all complicit in human trafficking in some way, shape, or form, because it is so nuanced. It's just not commercial sex works. There's also sweatshops and other forms of forced labor and all kinds of things. And in some way, shape, or form, it's embedded into our society, much as slavery was, plantation slavery was. And so as a result of it, no matter how hard or how aware you are about it, somehow you are going to be complicit and be a part of it, but you have to try to mitigate the factors. And so being more aware allows me to hold on to my computer as long as I possibly can before I purchase another one, because I know that there are babies who are in the lithium mines digging out the lithium that we need for the batteries. So rather than purchase, every 5 years, get a new computer, we hold on to that computer until it absolutely works no more.
You just saying that, because again, there are people who know and are very aware, and then there are people like when you just said that, I said, oh, because I did not know that one fact. But here it is. So those people who can, because I know, as I said, the protocol that we know to call is when you hear something that is an aha moment for you, or that were not aware, please type it in the chat so we can continue to know that some people are watching and that are gaining new information. That's number one. Number two, take at least the Lott Carey YouTube link. I'll put that in the chat here, and then just share this with someone else, because again, this is on the Lott Carey Why Salt Facebook page, which is private, and then it's on the YouTube channel. So, and I'm going to share this comment. This is from Sister Lottie McCoy. I see you, Salem. Dr. Clifton, your passion is palpable. I love it. I love it. God bless. Excellent. And then we also have our president, Dr. Brenda McBarrow. Thank you.
Amen.
Good evening. Good evening.
Amen.
The
Good
commitment to leadership. Excellent. Excellent. So I would like to ask, let me pull this down for a moment. So I would like to ask another question. So you've grown from, or this has grown, from your outreach for, and then I'm going to put the McMahon Correctional Facility. I'm going to put that in the chat, right?
The Edna Mahan Correctional Facility. Yes.
Edna Mahan, pardon me. I'll put that in the chat. And it grew out of that. You've grown to an opportunity to have, again, educational resources. You've added in this J4J challenge. You've added to invite all of the churches and to participate in a number of ways, whether it be sponsoring or having giving circles, coming to show up, bringing some of their young people or people who may be connected somehow, some way. And now you're getting the brothers. Now you're getting the brothers. Now you're getting the brothers involved. Literally, it feels more whole.
Yes. And that's the intent. That's the intent, to make it's the kingdom vision, right? The kingdom vision includes everyone. And so we wanted to make sure that it is a welcoming, safe space for everyone, so that people can come and everyone processes information differently. So the people who love the prayer component of it, they're always going to come because that's what they love. But there are other ways to engage other audiences. And so I'm so grateful that God laid it on my heart 4 years ago, basically, to try to come in with this J4J component and to just not be afraid to be different, because a number of people wanted to know, well, what is Jumping for Justice? What is that? Because it just, they couldn't envision it. But after the first year and after that first video, they were like, oh, okay. And so it's proven itself that it is something that is purely of God.
So I must say that, again, I'm just going to share this shirt because there's an intent on why I'm wearing it today. So, of course, I have, this is last year's shirt, right? And in the back, well, what it says in the back is all the churches. So I happen to have worn this shirt today. And those of you who, some may not know, but I'm an educator, and I actually teach elementary school during the day. That's my day job. And I love it very much. And sometimes where I wear like the I Am Lott Carey shirt, it's neutral. If people ask, they ask. But I wore this today, and I was standing in front of some of my students, and I heard one of my students reading the shirt, and I was like, I have 9-year-olds.
Hey.
So some of the words I may have to tiptoe around having conversation. And usually I try to stay away from it, try to stay neutral.
Yeah.
Right. And so, but one of my students said, I heard her reading it, and I was like, all right, let me just sort of keep teaching, not say anything. But then in conversations about, in social studies, where we're talking about like the new people coming to the new world and how they came to the new world and what have you, I actually do not use the word SLAVERY, and I'm saying it like that because computers are listening, but I use the term human trafficking.
Sure.
And so now my students say, oh, so you mean they were or they participate in human trafficking as well? They're not. And I said, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I said, because that process of that word
Yeah,
is people being taken from one place to another and being made to do something that they weren't. And so that's human trafficking. And so
absolutely.
at least I'm creating like another layer of
Sure,
education and truth telling
sure.
and swapping out one phrase for another so that they know when they hear it in other places, it's not the
Mhm.
SLAVERY word that's only used generations ago for one group of people.
Right, right, right. It's important for them to understand. Yeah, it's important for
Right,
them to understand. Absolutely,
right,
for their own safety, and then also for the expansion of their knowledge base, right? Because ultimately, one of the things that makes human trafficking different than slavery is that all you need to be is vulnerable, and the trafficker needs to find out what your vulnerability is. And every one of us has been vulnerable at some point in our lives, and so as a result of that, we are all have the possibility of being a trafficking victim simply because we've all experienced vulnerability. But blessed be to God that because of Lott Carey's work around the anti-trafficking initiative, we're able to help young people understand that, being vulnerable, it's okay to share that information with the people who love you and care for you, not with the people who will do you harm or do you danger or will maximize their financial gain because of your vulnerability. And so it's really important that the language evolves, right? That the language evolves. That's one of the things that brought me to the work. When Dr. Goatley was talking about this work way back in 2000, probably earlier than that, when he brought it to the table, and I have to shout out Dr. Ellen Waller, Minister Brenda Troy, Dr. Lakenya Cooper, and Sister Tikwa Davis, because they were the ones who went over to South Africa on that first trip to do the original legwork, so that we would be able to begin to think about how we might shape our work. And so it is because of the research and the work that they did on that initial trip that the ministry that the Lord has given me, blessed me with all these years, is because of the work that they did. And so I have to always give them the shout outs that are due, because they deserve that because of the work that they did. But the reason that trafficking even piqued my interest was because when Dr. Goatley was talking about it, he talked about human trafficking, and that really meant nothing to me at that time. But then he said modern day slavery, and that rung a bell in my heart. That resonated deeply with me, because we're only a couple of generations away from it. And some people would say that slavery never ended, right? That it just evolved, right? And so as a result of that, I was very committed to understanding this human trafficking. What is this? And it's because of the work that they did when they went over to South Africa and they worked with the survivors that were there, Dr. Goatley's passion, Reverend Dunn continuing to make a space for this place, that it has evolved over all of these years to become what it is. And so I'm just so grateful that I was not afraid to rethink rethink what it is that I thought about slavery. I had one perspective on it, and then Dr. Goatley introduced this new perspective, and that new perspective was really a springboard for me in ministry in a number of different ways. And so for that, I am forever grateful. I am forever grateful.
Okay, I want to get all the names right. I said you said Dr. Goatley, Sister Waller, Minister Brenda Troy, Dr. Kenya Cooper, and Sister, who's the last person?
Tikwa Davis.
I'm going to say T. Davis because I want to spell it as best as possible.
Yeah, Tikwa Davis.
Excellent. So thank you so much to these persons who have done the great work at being the springboard and
yeah.
The springboard. That's a good word. The springboard.
Absolutely. They laid the foundation, and they laid it so well that just year after year, we just continued to build on it. When I was in seminary working on my MDiv, one of the assignments I had when I did my supervised ministry with Lott Carey was to create a social media campaign for the anti-trafficking initiative. And so myself and Dr. McBurrow and Dr. Cooper worked together to pull this workshop kind of a piece together so that we could begin to educate the churches and the membership of Lott Carey. And then it just expanded, because once we were in our own relative churches, people heard you're talking about human trafficking and they wanted to know about this. And so Lott Carey became a great resource. And I mean, it's just amazing how God orchestrates these things and then how they just bloom into this beautiful flower that you would have never seen 20 years ago. But here we are today with it.
And so actually, I'm going to show this this comment, VGW Consulting. I'm not really sure who that is. Hopefully you'll add your name in the next comment. It says, Dr. Clifton, thank you for your dedication, your inspiration. Thank you, VGW Consulting. We appreciate you. So as we start to like bring this to a close or a shift at least, because you've done this work, of course, shout out again to 20 years of this work and then 4 years for the J4J events. That is just, again, phenomenal. People who want to learn more, and even though we've said it before, I know that people sometimes need to hear things again and again and again. There is work, there are resources. I know there's a pamphlet, there are handouts,
Sure.
there's downloadable resources that are on the Lott Carey website. That
yes. On the women on the women in service everywhere on their page, you can go, and if you scroll down to the bottom, you should be able to see some boxes that kind of speak to the anti-trafficking initiative and the various components. Those were some of the initial components that we crafted. I guess that would have been probably in 2005, maybe in 2006, that we crafted those documents and pulled them together. And then we began to do workshops, do many workshops. And of course, now with Zoom, it's a wonderful thing because you can do a workshop relatively easy. And so Lott Carey has really been a trailblazer in this space for Black churches, And I'm going to say for churches in general, because we've been a blessing to a number of different churches, not just Black churches. You're muted.
Sorry, I was actually just on another page trying to find the link, and I'm putting up the initiatives link. Here we go.
Sure.
All right, so if people are interested in getting more information, here it is. So if you click on this link, which is in the YouTube side, click on that link and it says human trafficking. If you click on that button, then it'll show you information about how you could learn more. Number one, even if it's just for yourself. Number two, share the information. And these resources are downloadable. Share it with community organizations. If you're part of, social action community organizations, and especially if you like to somehow duplicate or get more information to try to have a workshop, to have a seminar, to even have Dr. Clifton or one of the other women or persons who Dr. Clifton has deputized to share this work, to come out, which is how I actually learned about this. I don't even remember, Dr. Clifton, what year that was. Maybe it was 2005 when you were coming around and you said human trafficking and you were talking about the women who do the nails and do the hair. And literally that's what sparked in my head. And I said, you had a pamphlet. You came to my church, Salem Missionary Baptist Church. Shout out to Salem.
That's right. Dr. Thornton. Thank you, Dr. Thornton, for allowing us to come.
That's right. Dr. Lauren, thank you very much. Thank you so much. And you came and you were talking about it. I'm like, what in the world? And I remember coming up to you and saying, can I have that pamphlet? And you said yes. And then you started talking to me. That was the beginning of the seed. And here we are 20 years. 20 years later.
Look at God, right? The amazing things that God does when he lays something that really matters on your heart, right? And and gives you the authority to move forward. Bless God.
I appreciate it. So for those of you who are still watching, because this is towards our end, there are many ways that, again, we've talked about just the advocacy, the awareness, but also the activism. Get information. You can read. If you're a reader, get it downloadable. If you're auditory, that's the way you learn. Listen to this. Click on some other videos on the YouTube, wherever, and hear about it and how it's actually happening in your neighborhood. If you are ready for the advocacy part, and so every single neighborhood, every single elected official, every single senator, assembly person, council person, no matter what it looks like in your city, in your state, there is somebody who is addressing
Sure.
issues pertaining to this. Give them a call them up. If you're part of one of these organizations and you have a layer of, or one of the prongs or thrusts or whatever you call it in your organization that is about issues pertaining to women, that is about social justice, ask them, charge them, push the envelope and say, hey, let's bring this up. Let's partner. Let's go to whatever your state is, or go to your local churches and say, is this an issue that you're addressing? If not, how can we help you do that? How can we partner to bring awareness? Lastly, if you're a part of one of the, of course, Lott Carey churches, or if your own church is not a part, but you know somebody who wants to do something like this, construct a giving circle.
Absolutely.
Get a giving circle
Absolutely.
together.
Absolutely.
Because it's all going to the training and the support of the mental health work and the emotional wellness support that the women and the families need in order to make it the next day and the next week and the next year. That's why we're bringing this information to you.
Absolutely. And we want to say that it's not really that it's going to focus so much on any one aspect of things, but it's really about making people whole. And people are whole when they not only have their basic needs met, but they also have their emotional and psychological needs met as well. And so this really affords us an opportunity to have a much broader reach in that respect as we move forward. And so shameless plugs, the Pastoral Giving Circle. If you are a pastor of a church, no matter how small, no matter how big, just create a $1,000 giving circle, send it to Lott Carey with the J for J initiative written on it, and we will make our $100,000. If you are a woman in the women's ministry in your church, create a giving circle. Ask 10 of your friends, ask 20 of your friends to give you some either $100 or $50 or whatever, however it takes for you to make your giving circle of $1,000 and give that. And before you know it, we will have our $100,000 specifically set up to make people whole, to make people healthy. And so it's important for us to not lose sight of, even as small and insignificant as you may feel about the work that you do, God is amazing with the things that God will do with whatever it is, however small, with the faith of a mustard seed, as it says in the Bible, right? And so God will do amazing things with our little small pittances. And when we put them together, they really make a significant difference. One of the things that blesses my heart about this whole project is the impact that Lott Carey has made in the community, not just domestically, but also abroad. The fact that we have been able to come to the table and be talking about this particular topic as long as we have, as consistently as we have, and as concisely as we've put it together, so that people are able to pick up the material, grasp it relatively easy, and then it makes an impact in their community. So, don't think that you can't do anything, right? Don't think it. If I can do it, you can do it. Anyone can do it. It's just a matter of allowing the Lord to speak to your heart and then not being afraid to move on what it is God has given you. And so I just encourage you to please, please, please think about the ways that you can help us in this work. There's something for everyone to do. There's something for everyone to do.
I want to end with this quote. This is from Hazel Austin. Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Clifton, for sharing this information. You're doing a wonderful job. I love it. I love it. We all love it. We are all grateful for your sacrifice, your stewardship, your support of women who have been marginalized, are marginalized, and are in very tenuous situations. And everyone needs somebody to advocate for them. And you definitely are that person and have been doing this work, literally doing this work with beautiful sweat and tears.
Mm. Amen. Amen. And a lot of help from my sisters and my brothers. And so I'm so grateful for relationship, right? The kingdom vision and relationship, the beautiful blessing it is to be blessed, to be a blessing.
Excellent. So we look forward to seeing some of you on the Friday night for the concert, more of you on the Saturday morning at the prayer service, a whole lot of you, please put your sunscreen on. We may have melanin, but we need some sunscreen, okay?
Yes.
Get your little cute hats on. get your, do your stretches. You got to do your stretches. Even if you think you're going to try to do a jump, because I done learned. I thought I still had it. I did that first little jump in the road with my little new sneakers, and I said, "Oh my goodness, I'm out of shape." Okay, I'm out of shape. I got to get back into it, right? My whole school was like, "There's Miss Larry again, jumping double dutch, teaching kids who had been inside for 3 years. Do you even know what this rope is?" I'm like, "What are you doing?" Oh my goodness! So my crew. Shout out to Brooklyn. We had to come out. We had to show these children how to jump and double dutch. They're like, "What in the world is that?" We're like, "Oh my gosh, y'all need to put down them games and get outside." But it was all for good. It was all for good. So we look forward again to seeing you all next weekend. Yes, Mama and I will be out there once again trying to do our thing. And we're excited to support and participate, and also bring the word back, share with other churches and other communities, and also get some additional younger women in particular. And we'll bring out some younger men so they can be aware.
Sure. And we're available to do workshops and different things, and basically anywhere now because of Zoom. We can really just about be anywhere at any time and do these. So if you're in need of having some more information about these things, don't hesitate to touch base with me or Dr. McBurrow or any of the women that I've named, because any of us can come to the table and really present on the topic and present on it well. Because Lott Carey has groomed, I always say Lott Carey has groomed some of the best people when it comes to this issue in terms of being able to enlighten and encourage and engage the community. Lott Carey has done a wonderful job of doing that, of grooming us, no pun intended, grooming us so that we could do the work.
Good. Grooming for good.
Amen. Amen.
Grooming for good. All right. Yeah. So we look forward to seeing you all. And as we wrap up this particular conversation, please join us again on the first Thursday of June for the next conversation of the Digital Couch. And let me just drop a little hint. Why is DC? That's a little hint. So we're again celebrating 125 years of Lott Carey Women in Service Everywhere. Yeah. Here we're celebrating 20 years of the Human Trafficking Awareness event, celebrating 4 years of the Jumping for Justice. But next month, I'm just saying.
Amen.
Let's show up. Peace and blessings. I look forward to also seeing you all at convention. So please get your rooms.
Yeah.
Don't sit on the street corner. Get your rooms.
Yes, indeed. Philly's calling.
Philly is calling. All right. Good night, everyone. Dr. Clifton, hold on. Good night, everyone.